this morning?
Yeah, I've been cranking. I've done like 8 radio shows this week.
Really? What, like
That's
stacking
a bit of a
them
lie. Yeah, no, for Beats One.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been intense.
Yeah.
I'm starting our time together by removing my earrings and undoing the top button of my jeans. That's where I'm at right now.
Does that mean you're going to fight?
Maybe.
Might be the
Depends on the questions you ask me. I just start throwing fists.
Well, thanks for coming on.
You're so welcome. It's about time that I went on your radio show, considering I've harassed you to be on mine constantly for the last 5 years.
Many years.
Well, actually more than 5 years, because you were on my old radio show back in Australia.
Exactly.
And so were you.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow, that is going back.
I know. Actually, my brain hurts just thinking about how long ago that was.
That's probably a good place to start, actually.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I remember anything.
We do like, we like to kind of rewind, if you like, and kind of talk to all our guests about, where they came from and, the humble beginnings, I guess,
Yeah. How'd you get into radio?
Radio was a little bit my first stop because I was just out of school and I knew that I wanted to work in music, but I didn't know what. And I didn't know any DJs. I never considered that I could be a DJ. It was just sort of like that wasn't people I knew, because DJs, it was all on vinyl and the record stores was scary and there was only dudes in there. And we had a DJ in our grade. He was great. His name was Marty, and he DJ'd every single party in our whole grade. So we already had a DJ.
Yeah, where's Marty now?
Marty, he's actually a really cool graphic designer. I still have
sick.
friends on Facebook with him. And he used to make me graph, like little drawings on, like in maths class, he'd make me graphs of my name and stuff. He was sick. So anyway, Marty was the DJ. I didn't need to be one. And I really loved music, but I didn't quite know what jobs you could get. So I started volunteering at a community radio station in Australia that had just opened up called FBI. And it was basically where I ended up meeting everybody that sort of helped me discover my true passions in life, I guess. It was really an important move. And I always wonder what I would have done, like where would I be now? At one point I auditioned to be the host of a kids show. And I missed out. It came down to me and one other person for like Saturday Disney. And it was like a 5-year contract and I was devastated when I didn't get it.
Wow.
And then by like 2 years later, I was DJing all over the place thinking like, oh my God, imagine if I'd actually gotten that 5-year contract. I'd still be there like every Saturday morning.
Your life would be so different.
It would be so different.
Wow.
Shit. Sliding doors.
But FBI is pretty legendary.
FBI is a
In
really
Sydney.
great place. I mean, it was just my lucky day that I literally crashed a station meeting. My friend had a friend who worked there, and he hit me up and was like, "Lunoe, they're doing a station meeting on Wednesday night. You should just rock up and like meet some people." And so I turned up, and since then people have told me that I turned up and I used to make all my own clothes. And I was wearing a denim skirt that I'd like customized with like sewn things onto it, and a pair of Ugg boots.
What year is this?
2003.
All right.
A pair
wow.
of Ugg boots. And they were like, you were wearing this, they were like, yeah, you showed up and you had like hair up in a net or something. I was wearing some hat. I don't know. And they were like, yeah, we were like, who's this girl? Like Levins, Levins.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
him who was telling
You
me
made
over
quite an
Christmas.
impression.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all a mystery to me.
So that was the first time you met Levins.
Yeah. Met Levins and
Crazy.
Nina and like all my friends in Sydney I met at that station.
Because you came from like a farm. You grew up on a farm?
I grew up on a farm. I grew up between when I was young, my parents kind of, we lost our house. And so my parents moved to the country and I grew up in the country. But I went to school in the city. I lived with other families. So I lived this weird thing where I lived
Better
this
take that.
and have you done radio before? Turn your phone on. I used to spend my school term in the city, and then every weekend, and pretty much every weekend when I wasn't horse riding, that's another whole story, I was at the farm, and every holidays I was at the farm too. So it was weird because I lived sort of 2 separate lives, and yeah. But it was cool because I look back now and I have so many weird experiences. Like I know how to do stuff on a farm that you would not expect me to do. I know how to deal with livestock and like break in horses and like deal with snake bites and spider bites and, you know.
That's good if you're living in Australia, right? You
Yeah.
need to know those things.
You do need to know those
Like
things.
life skills.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to use those skills?
Which ones?
The survival, the snake. I know you're thinking about the snake and the.
I've definitely
the
had
spider
snake
one.
encounters. I've never been bitten by a snake and I've never been with anyone. Have I? Definitely not been with anyone who's been bitten by a snake, but I've definitely been with people who've been spider bit and like we've had to compress it and like deal.
All right. Well, I'm bringing you along on any kind of outdoor,
Yeah, I'm
adventure.
probably a good person to have. I have been involved, since I've been in America, I've been involved in a wasp attack
Are you
while
serious?
hiking.
Wow.
It's actually a crazy story. It involves me and the Bag Raiders guys and like our friends. And we went when we first moved to LA, we'd both just moved to LA. And one night we went for a hike up in Griffith Park and we were running around Griffith Park. And so we were running in a line. I think Cassian was there too. We were running in a line down the hill and the sun was setting and we'd already had a really good sort of hike, but we decided to run down the hill and someone in the line ahead must have kicked a wasp nest. And one by one up the line, we got progressively just attacked. And wasps basically, they let off an odor. Like as soon as something bad, they let off like a pheromone and then they all attack anything that they can, you know, that it's really crazy. So they literally, the person in front of me suddenly they were wearing a white t-shirt and their whole back was black. They just had wasps all over them. They started attacking me. They attacked my friend. My friend just froze and started screaming. And I had to literally take my shirt off and was like slapping her, being like, run up the hill. And she was just screaming there frozen. And I had to push up the hill and run. We both ran. We were both stripping our clothes off and screaming and running up the hill. And I just remember like a couple of people down the road just looking at us and being like,
Those
What the
kids
fuck
are on
are they
what's
drugs.
wrong with you? And like keeping on walking, not being like, hey, you guys okay or anything. Just so I'm like, oh, welcome to LA.
And how did you, sort of going back to sort of Australia again, you got the radio show, you sort of progressing sort of in your DJ career and sort of doing club nights. And so what was the climate like then?
It was a really,
you?
really fun time in Sydney. I mean, that's when I met you around the same time, a couple of years later. Basically, there was just so much going on. Nightlife was really going nuts. There was the modular thing that was happening, you know, there was like our crew was throwing a lot of the parties. So like Diplo, and we brought out we brought out Rai Rai and South Ruckus crew and you. We did a show with you. We did like a show, all the shows that were kind of like.
Which venue did I play at again?
I don't remember.
This is a test.
This is a test.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember we did Oxford. Most of our parties were at Oxford Art Factory, and then we moved them to this other venue that I don't remember the name of. But yeah, we just threw parties with people from overseas who we'd, you know, read on blogs or read on message boards or had interactions with or liked their latest edit on Palms Out Sounds or something.
And this was around 2005?
A bit later.
2006?
I was in New York in 2006. I think it was 2007, 8
Okay.
mostly. Before that, that's when the DJing really kicked off. The radio year, it was just like us going to everything, going to modular parties and
Yeah, I was
you
going to
know.
ask, when you started the radio, were you DJing already? Or
I
did
would-
you learn
so
how to
the-
DJ at that point?
So it sort of fed into itself because when I did like an afternoon show on the radio, and then they used to send out emails to the staff and be like, hey, this art gallery needs someone to play some music from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight. You don't get paid, but you get some free drinks and whatever. And we'd be like, woohoo, yeah, I'm in. And so we do that and basically just burn out 2 CDs and go and play them. So when I learned how to use the equipment, then I was like, oh, this is fun. And so I wanted to learn how to mix a song together. And then I wanted to learn how to, you know, just each step was like kind of that was a jump point of where I just got interested in the idea of DJing. And then from there, it was like the opening spot at a bar. And then I got a job at a restaurant and I DJ'd every night. I sort of worked out that I could DJ instead of working in a clothing shop, and it was slightly more money. And I could DJ from 8 to midnight on every night of the week and earn as much as if I'd worked from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at a clothing shop. So I was like, sweet, I'll do that instead.
Little did you know you were paying your dues.
I was paying my dues and learning
Getting paid to pay your dues.
and eating heaps. It was an Italian restaurant and they had great profiteroles. So I just sat there in the DJ booth and the chefs used to bring me up like antipasta and profiteroles. So I just got kind of chubby.
That's how you DJ.
And I learned how to DJ.
A chubby and a Lunoe DJ
Yeah,
at an
it was
Italian
cute. I know.
I like it.
Yeah. In Ugg boots, probably.
Those same Ugg boots.
I probably still got them. I'm wearing them now.
That would be mind-blowing. Just put your foot up on the table. These
And-
very Ugg boots.
And I was really flexible, like just like floating around without moving my chair at all.
Next time.
I'll keep working on that for our next interview.
So what was like the next step after that? Like you started touring a little bit.
Yeah, I think my dream at that point was
Were you already singing and trying to make music at the
No,
time?
I didn't
yet?
start making music. I didn't learn how to use Ableton until 2007. So it must have been just before this. So I guess it was like I started DJing regularly in 2006. I did an Ableton course. Like we had an Ableton school called Live School run by this guy, Adam Maggs, who's still there now. He's such a champion. And he taught us all how to use Ableton, really, including Flume and stuff. He went to the same school. And yeah, I did that course in 2007 and I just slowly, but at that age as well, at that time, you didn't have to make music to be a successful DJ in Australia.
Not
So
at all.
the biggest DJ we had was Ajax. You guys all met Ajax.
Right.
And
R.I.P.
Ajax didn't really, rest in peace, Ajax, and he didn't really make music. And so I didn't think that I had to. I just did the course because I wanted to, and I used to make all these kind of like hip hop beats, really. Like if you look at my MySpace, like screenshots of my MySpace, it's like, there's like, my quote is like, DJs makes drum beats is happy or something dumb like that. And I think like I literally just used to make like beats.
Who would be in your top 8 on MySpace back then?
I remember it was A-Track, Flostradamus, Diplo, Nina, Levens. It's probably like, it's not that, I mean, Neha was in it. Mark was in it. Honestly, people that I still hang out with now, to be
yeah,
quite
yeah.
honest.
I was going to say all the G's,
All
man.
the G's.
Yeah, that's
Still
solid.
doing their thing.
Yeah.
That's solid.
That's solid, yeah.
I know it kind of is. It's kind of really funny now. Like it's getting to the point where I look around, I'm like, oh my God, I've known you for over 10 years, like at least.
It was crazy. I was coming over to Australia in around 2006, 2007, just starting. And I remember you were, at that point, I think just opening the stages or getting on the stages
Yeah, we
at that
played
point.
a festival together.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I hung with you because you were playing main stage at like 3 and I was playing the side stage at like midday. And
I
so
remember,
you'd
yeah.
have to get the same shuttle to the festival as me. And so I'd sort of tag along with you and
Yeah.
follow you everywhere. I
It's
remember
crazy
that.
to see the progression and, congratulations on all the success that you've had.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
amazing.
Oh.
You're an OG, Anna, for real.
Big time OG.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
nice of you to say. And
From
you
breaking
too.
horses to touring the world.
Breaking.
Breaking tracks on the radio.
Yeah, from breaking horses to breaking tracks.
Can that be my new MySpace bio? Why wasn't that my MySpace bio?
Your tagline is just breaking.
Breaking
You're just
stuff.
breaking anything.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I
been
might
killing
change
it.
that to my Instagram bio. It's crazy. It's actually insane to think about. It's all weird. And the funny thing is that you just don't know. Like when I was DJing at the Italian restaurant, my friend, who's weirdly kind of famous in his own way now, in Australia, I'm not sure if he's famous overseas. He's one of the Bondi hipsters, which is like, do you guys know who that is?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's an Australian thing. It's like these guys, they parody Australian, like funny Australian. They're kind of like,
Is it like a YouTube show? Or
yeah, kind of, yeah. And they basically like, I went to school with one of the guys, and he was like, Luno, you could. He came to see me DJ at the the restaurant, and he was like, Luno, you could do this like all over the world. And I was literally looked at him and I was thinking to myself, what are you talking about? Like,
You're
I
just
just looked at
gassing
him,
me
like,
up right now.
I was like, you fucking don't know what you're talking about, bro. Like, I just was like, no, I can't. Like, and it's so funny because it's like, that was 10 years ago. And honestly, not even a little tiny voice in my head was ever like, yes, that's a possibility. In my head, I thought maybe I'd get to play at the casino in Sydney because that was all fancy. I was like, can you imagine if I got to DJ at the casino?
But you still remember him saying that, so it must have affected you somehow. You
I
saw
only
that glimmer.
remember it because I thought it was insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And then at one point, he reminded me. He reminded me a few years later when we hung out in New York, and he was like, hey, remember I said that? I was like, oh my God, that's right.
I feel like back in the day, like things seemed way more unattainable. Whereas now, I mean, even with the internet back then, we had access to a lot of stuff and a lot of people, but not like anything like now. Everything's done online.
Yeah.
But back then it was kind of like you saw what was happening, but you still had to be there and like,
Yes.
face to face. You don't even have to do that now. So I understand how you felt back then. It's like, I can't do this.
And
I'm trying, but
like as if, and Australia felt so far away, and like back then it's not like the booking agents had connections with the booking agents here at all. It was like if I came to America, which I ended up doing a few years later, 2009 was the first time that I came over properly and did it, and that was all just emailing you guys, like people that I'd played with in Australia, and then was writing to you guys and being like, hey, do you guys know where I should play here? And then I'd hit up the club promoters and be like, hey guys, I'm a DJ from Australia. Here's a bio. Here's a mix CD. Here's a media file link to my mixtape. And like,
so dope.
So I'd literally book the tour through my MySpace, and you know, it's so funny. I remember going to Kansas City off of booking on MySpace and then being like, wait, I think the day before I went, I was like, wait, what am I doing?
you look on a map. You're like,
Yeah.
where's Kansas City?
I was like, I don't know these people. No one knows where I'm going. Like, my parents have no idea where I am right now. I should let somebody know that I'm going to Kansas City. And I rocked up and the guy was so nice. But I actually had to climb in through the boot of his car to get into the car because the front seat was broken. And I was like, wait, shit, this is weird.
Welcome to Kansas City.
Welcome to Kansas City. It was a weird time, different time.
It was cool back then. It was almost like an exchange program.
Yes, we took care of each other.
Yeah, because we would all come to like Australia, and like all you guys, all the people you've mentioned so far, you know, like Graham or me would come do it, you know, shows and tour, especially in Sydney, and you guys would just take care of us on like like a hospitality and just like
we'd throw parties when you guys came. Like I remember
exactly.
we had barbecues, and we'd like remember Levens used to cook all of that like big barbecues for you guys, and like we'd have a party at Jimmy Singh's record store.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
Like it was kind of cute. We really loved it when you came because we would watch everything that was going on overseas, and we felt so far away from it, and like we were so curious to see what you guys would play when you came to Australia. It really was special.
And would you say the blogs were kind of the entry point to kind of like what was going on over there?
Yeah, it was the best we could get. And social media also, like even the early days of MySpace, just working it all out, you know? It's funny.
There really wasn't a model back then. Like you were saying, everything felt so unattainable.
Yes.
it was being made up as it was
Sure.
happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think everything that you guys did in Australia was very genuine. Like, you know what I mean? You're kind of isolated, but you see through blogs and everything, MySpace, what's going on. And then those connections were we're still friends to this day. And everyone that I met back then, I'm still friends with, you know? And that's why everyone helped you guys out when you're finally like, I'm going to make that trip to the States.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to help you. And yeah, that was a cool thing that I think is lost a lot now.
Maybe. But
I mean, it's
you know
definitely
what?
still there.
Aaron, you take care of everyone that comes to LA. Like you always have people coming. You're still having everybody and taking them out for KBBQ and like
Changing diapers.
you're changing
Doing
diapers.
I was gonna say, you are the mum.
I literally I said to Aaron, Aaron, I joked about there being candles, and there are candles here. You know what I mean? Like you
Those are
still
your
take
candles.
care of it. We all still take care of each other. It just looks a little different now.
Yeah. So how did you end up eventually moving to the States?
Well, I came across, so I did a couple of trips in 2009, extended trips where I'd stay in New York for like 5 weeks and just base myself out of there and dot around the place. So 2009, basically, like, I came across a couple of times and I really enjoyed it and that was great. But I was exhausted and I was losing money, like hemorrhaging money. But I just didn't care because I wanted to be here and I was learning a lot. And there was only 5 clubs in Australia that were like fun to play because there's only like 10 cities less. There's like 6 cities that you can play on a regular basis in Australia. So so basically I just sort of got the taste for it. I really liked it. And then 2010, I don't think I came across. I think I was really busy doing other stuff and I did a big European trip that year. And then 2011 I came across and I noticed a huge change in what was going on. And basically I knew that I could make a living here. Like I just saw this shift from people not really knowing about house music or club music and I should not say that, but the scenes that I was moving in, there was a huge shift in what people were interested in that aligned more with what I was interested in. So I suddenly saw an opportunity that I could be here and be okay. And so I started putting those wheels in motion and... Yeah.
And was it super scary? Or did you feel like I got this?
It was super scary because I had a great little thing going on in Australia in terms of, I was making a bit of money, I was touring around, but it was a dead-end road for me in a lot of ways because I just couldn't grow anymore in that environment. Mm-hmm. Australia is a really great place, but it's very limited because it's a small population. There's only one thing that can really be really popular at any one time. And the thing that I was always like proudly left of centre, but the problem with that was that you could never really get your teeth into the mass market, and it was always like I just done everything on my level and there wasn't another market for me to hit there. So I knew that I had to move on and had to kind of take it to another place to keep growing. And so I didn't mind that it was scary and risky because Australians do that. They tend to kind of go and live overseas and give it a shot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you guys are well travelled.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's sort of like, because we are a small place, we just know that we're going to have to travel and see it for ourselves. It's not going to come to us. It's where it only comes to very few people.
And was there someone that sort of you were following in their footsteps, or was it something you were just like gung-ho, like this is, I'm just going to do this?
I wish there was someone whose footsteps I was following in, but no, I just
so no one to sort of
tried.
guide you along.
No,
really?
But I didn't feel like I definitely look back and I think I was hilariously naive to think that I could do it, and it was really hard. Like there was about the first 3 or 4 years were really hard, especially the 3rd and 4th year. I was really tired by then. But I came over and I just was so happy to start again. And I was so happy for every little opportunity again, which was really fun. Did you have a vision for what you wanted to do, or you just kind of see what happens? Yeah. No, I didn't. I just knew that I knew that if I worked hard, I could find a little world because I knew I had a certain skill set, but I also knew that I had a lot more to learn. So I didn't come over here thinking that, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to be the da-da-da-da-da, but I was like, I know that I can grow. I know that I can grow and I know that I can get better at it. And I still feel that way. I still feel like I'm still growing. Yeah, I'm in the same way. I'm like, draw parallels to your journey because I've been here for 7 years now. So it was definitely... Yeah, you moved like shortly after me. Yeah, I remember that. 2012, the beginning of 2012 was for me. Yeah, we were like, March. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so it must have been within a few months. Yeah. Literally. Yeah, it's one of those things that once you make the decision, you just like, I'm just going to make it work, and then like people to just, help you out. You've got friends, around to, give you that support when you need it. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I went to the same exact thing. Well, I didn't come from Australia or the UK. When I moved here from New York, it was like And you moved in like just after as
Just
well.
right around the same time, yeah, almost probably like 7 years ago. And it was that same kind of boom, like the EDM boom, when all that was like really happening. And it was exciting, but also kind of scary because the whole blog world like shifted. Like the world that we lived in kind of was pushed away.
Yeah.
For all this bigger kind of commercial,
It was
commercial.
weird.
It was really weird, and I was like, I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of lost creatively, and I was following all of that stuff, and it just did not satisfy me, and it worked. You know what I mean? Like I was getting bookings and releases, and I had a label, but it wasn't. I think people can tell when it's not authentic, and you're like trying something that's not for you.
But I think everyone was.
You have to. Yeah, you absolutely have to
at
do
that
it.
time.
Yeah.
Like when I still have every release that all of you have ever done on my lap. Like I literally kept every single MP3.
I might need to tap you up for some of those releases. honestly.
Like seriously, I've
The
started.
archives.
I had to delete some maybe 2 years ago, but like for ages I had everything. And like when I'd clean stuff out and I listened through and I'd be like, oh my God. Like there's a phase between like 2011, like 2012 to 2010 that everyone was doing such weird shit. It's really great.
Damn, Anna, you're like
I'm gonna start
a
pulling
dance
them out.
music historian.
I'm
like
anthropologist of bangers.
seriously.
A bangthropologist.
Banktropologist.
That
You heard it
sounds
here first.
crazy.
Yeah. So when did you feel like you kind of hit your stride or something started happening? What was like a turning point for that after you moved where you felt like, oh, it's happening, or, you know, something's falling into place?
A few things fell into place. It's weird because when it started falling into place in the clubs and when it actually started changing the way the business worked was maybe there was like a year buffer zone where I knew in the clubs that something was really cool and happening and people were into it, but I couldn't change. Like for whatever reason, I couldn't move up a lineup. I couldn't like do anything. I just felt like I wasn't getting booked in the right places. I just felt really frustrated. The catalyst for me really changing stuff was when I got the Beats One show. For no other reason was that it gave me a bit of financial stability. So I didn't worry. I'd really wanted to leave my booking agent and the team that I had at the time, but I was too scared because I just didn't have the money to pay. Like I was living week to week and I just didn't know what would happen. So when I got that, it wasn't much money, but it was enough that I was like, okay, this, is a start. This is like a bit more stability. Okay, I can take this jump. I can risk it. And so I started switching my team up and being like, no, I knew that I really know that this person should be my booking agent. They get it. They book people that I want to be playing shows with. I felt like I was always booked at some weird place, and I'd look at my Instagram. I'm like, why is every person I'm friends with in the same city, in another city, and I'm not? I'm on the other side of the country. Like I'm just not in the right zone,
They didn't get you. Yeah.
not in the right circuit.
Yeah.
I was in the wrong circuit.
Yeah.
So as soon as I plugged into that circuit, that was where I was meant to be. And I knew that the whole time, but I was with a team that was like, no, trust me, like you're not meant to be there.
I was going to say, definitely having the right people around you is super important and probably really gave you a boost that you really needed.
Just
because
the
the
sense
talent's
of-
there. It's just about having someone to come in and really, open some doors and like make things happen for you.
And understand what you want, and
Put me in a place where the right people will enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that I still really love the people that I was working with, but I just knew that they didn't quite know where to put me. And I sort of worked it out. After a couple of years, I worked out where I should be, but they didn't have the access to plug me in there. So there was just like, I just had to move into a position where I could be accessing that. So that made a big difference. And as soon as that happened, things just felt pretty different. And I started really having fun with it. And yeah, it's interesting. Like still now though, like even I just played Coachella 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. And to you for the year before. And then but then I think about it and it's like, well, 2 years ago I played And that, even 2 years ago, feels like a completely different mental headspace that I was in around that. So even now I feel like I'm really growing every year, which you wouldn't think. Like you think you'd just get to a point where you sort of stagnate and you stop, well, not stagnate, but you stop being, you stop growing in a way, but I still feel
momentum
you
or
lose the
something.
kind of,
Yeah.
not, I don't know if it's momentum,
lose
but
the
it's
passion.
like, no, not the passion. It's kind of like the way my strength in situations and the way that I look at situations is still maturing. Like I felt a lot more in control of the experience of playing Coachella, a lot more capable, a lot more able, and like I really embraced it this time. You know, it took 3 times, but I feel like I had fun with it this time. Whereas the first 2 times I think I was still having fun, but like stressed and like concerned and wanting to do a great job and, you know, not sure if I could pull it off, you know, like the insecurity, And I feel like even in a couple of years, I've grown a lot. So it's interesting still now to be feeling that. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was actually reading a great post that you did on Instagram today.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all about, we'll probably touch on it a bit more later, especially when it comes to juggling all the things that you are doing. But it's so interesting being able to really evaluate, you know, your mental health and just keep yourself in check. And, you know, it's tough, you know, it's really hard.
And it's a moving sands, to quote some poem that I studied in high school. It's like the moving sands of mental health, you know? Like you think you kind of understand how it works and you have a couple of good months, couple of good weeks, and then you get a couple of heavy weekends where you get no sleep, and then you're on the back foot, and then you get a 3-day week where you don't get back to have at least 2 good nights sleeps. You got to get back out on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then you fall behind and you never really catch up. And then 2 months goes by and you realize that like I haven't exercised in 2 months. I haven't eaten properly. Like I don't even know what I'm doing. Every week I just get home, do the washing and get out the door again. It's like, what am I even doing? What music was I making? I don't even know anymore. It's like I have to go back and completely remember how to use my gear and like what, you know, it's like my brain is just frazzled from the lack of sleep.
And you're so on top of the music still. I mean, you've always been really eclectic and have embraced a lot of different kinds of music, but it's so hard. It must be so difficult now, especially.
Yeah, I mean, pumping the show out each week is some weird DJ boot camp that I have a love-hate relationship with, because I can listen through like 700 songs in an afternoon. And it's like I've gotten so fast and so good at it. I mean, it's like, but also it takes so much out of me. I go crazy doing it.
I feel you.
You know what it's like. I mean, you must get so many demos and so many promos, and it's like...
I'll set aside like a couple hours to listen, and it sounds so stupid, but it's really exhausting. Because you're listening to, you know, hundreds of songs.
Yeah.
And then you'll get like 10.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know. Just not that they're all bad, but
No,
just like stuff that doesn't fit what you do.
Exactly.
And you still have to check them out to make sure. And
For sure.
I can't imagine trying to put that radio show together every week and doing that to get some fresh material. And yeah.
It's the same.
Zap your brain.
It was really heavy when I was doing Hyper House as well, because it was like I really wanted to represent every type of music, you know, not every type of music, but I wanted to fully give a good snapshot of what I thought was happening in like all the dance music aspects that I can kind of control under my weird little umbrella. Or the umbrella that I built for myself with that show. So I was listening to every trap thing, every like house thing, every big banger thing, every down tempo thing, rap as well. I wanted to have a good handle on that. All the world stuff that I could find, as much deep stuff as I could find. Like I had a few people that I would hit up in the different countries and different places and just be like, hey, is there anything I'm missing? Like what's good in your area? Who's local? Who's killing? You know, I really I spent weeks at the beginning when I first got that show setting up like channels to people around the world. So it just felt like once I got those channels really set up, I just rolled and rolled really hard. And I got, as much help as I could. I got someone who could help me I got set up an email address, and I got someone who could help me download everything and put it in a Dropbox for me every week so that I could just storm that Dropbox. And yeah, I just worked out a way that I was functional for me, and I put time limits on it. But I do love that too. Like I love bringing 25% of something weird into my set that I don't think that people are expecting, and that I can try and push them in a different direction. And I think that is the same culture as what we were doing 10
Absolutely.
years ago. Like that's exactly the first time you saw me
Yeah.
play, I would have been doing the exact same thing in a way.
Definitely. Who were you looking up to? Was there someone to sort of you were aspiring to sort of not be, but like just someone that influenced you?
Honestly,
when it
I was
comes
a
to
Diplo
picking-
fan. Like I
Same.
loved Holotronics. I used to
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to all his like Holotronics mixes, and they were always really interesting. For people who've never listened to a mix from Diplo's in like 2006 and 7, it's worth listening to. I mean, I don't know. He means a lot of different things to different people now, but back then he stood for a very kind of like eccentric, daring crossover sound that would party rock anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in some circles he probably still does represent that.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the blueprint. And then I just tried to work it out in my own way,
For sure.
Is that how you kind of feel
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it?
definitely. Like I was the same way. I was like, I really like what Diplo's doing. Like
Yeah.
honestly, 2005, I wasn't playing house music. I was playing dancehall. I was playing body funk. I was playing,
Yeah, that's
music from around the world, weird like regional music in the US, Baltimore club, all that kind of stuff.
we were so into
Like,
Baltimore Club.
Yeah, like nuts about it.
And back then that was like odd to mix genres like that.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was living in Philly and go to like Holotronics and you'd hear like Guns N' Roses and then
Yeah.
like a Baltimore club track and like all that
Mastercraft
stuff like all
into-
mixed together, and it was like so unique because I came up with the rave background, so it was like, one genre in this room the whole night, one genre, and it never swayed. No one ever really mixed it up. And then you go to that and it's like, holy shit, this is like every genre mixed together and it
Yeah.
works and everyone's going crazy. So I definitely see that. I mean, that was like as far as that era, the Bloghouse era, that was a big kickoff, I think. That whole, everything Diplo was doing back then, for sure.
Definitely.
Sure, for a lot of us.
I never even got to go to a Holotronics thing. All I had was the internet to look at it and wonder what it might be like. Like look at the pictures and see what people like their American Apparel leotard that they were wearing and be like, wow, I think we'll get that in Australia in the next 6 to 12 months. And I too can get that cool MySpace Vic. Yeah. So, but it's funny, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
still
that
feel like the
idea.
same.
I love that idea about the DJ as an educator as well as an entertainer. I feel I really hope that's still, maintained.
It's still the spirit in which that I approach when I put a set together for something special. Like I do think, how can I shock people a little bit enough that they feel like that was an unexpected left turn or
Yeah.
something?
I love
Yeah.
that when we had EZ at Night Base,
Mate,
speaking of education,
ridiculous.
he came, and it's a younger crowd. It's an American crowd. They don't know. There's not like the history of EZ here like there is in the UK, where he's like everyone grew up listening to him on the radio and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in, and I think he had like changed his set a little bit to be more American. So it was like whatever big rap songs, he kind of teased those in. But then it was like, I went out on the dance floor and I was walking around and it was like rammed, and he was playing like original like UK garage tracks that none of these kids have ever heard, and they were just fucking going crazy.
Yeah.
Just like legendary tracks that they don't know about. You know what I mean? I mean, a good 90% of them don't. And it was just, that's his education. It was full on education, like a history lesson.
And weirdly with dance music, the spirit of it, like within reason, especially with garage or house, like I feel like you pull in an old like garage tune and it's universal. People feel that energy, whether they've heard it before or not. And it just, I don't know. I always pull in. There's a few that always work, even
Like
if you
Rip
know.
Groove.
Yeah.
Rip Groove, yeah.
Yeah, or like if you play Sincere at the right time of any night, and you know, or Neighborhood by Zed Bias, like
Tune.
I played that. Like I remember mixing that into a Jersey club song at Brunch Bounce in the what's it called in New York? I'm having a mental blank.
The hotel.
No, New York up. They throw the party on the wharf up, like not the Bronx, up past the Bronx a bit. I forget.
No, I'm not sure.
Anyway, it's like on the west side, all the way up the top of the island. Anyway, so they throw a party there, and it's like totally, you know, it's like totally different crowd. And I played some Jersey club remix into Zed Bias, and it mixed so well because like both 135 BPM, and the mix was so sick, and I was like, wow, and everyone went crazy, and I was like, they wouldn't really know this song at all, but it's like, it's just the vibe, it's just like the right energy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's, even if it's got a different cultural stamp on it, it's the same energy from the same kind of place, you know.
I love that.
I mean, it's just house music, mate. Just a couple of kicks, couple of snares. Can't go wrong. Couple of good chords.
Yeah.
Cute vocals.
I suppose like sort of taking it up to date, what is really exciting you about music right now?
Oh, it's a big question.
And
isn't it?
that's a tough question, but is there something that is like you're drawn to in particular and you're like, I can't stop listening to that, or like that's exciting me, or?
You know, for me right now, what's exciting to me right now, I think that
It doesn't have to be like a genre, or maybe just, you know, I don't know, something that links.
I always find a little Bermuda Triangle of like a couple of artists whose set really helps me fill out my, you know, my vibe. And it's a few people. I really love, and this is sort of no surprise, I'm sure, to a lot of your listeners, but I love Distinct. I think that he's
amazing.
He's so fun. I just love the energy that he sparks up. Like going into my Coachella set, Extraterrestrial was just like the vibe for me because I love the mood. I love how I love his tracks are kind of quirky and jerky and funny and banging, you know, like I really like that energy that he brings. I love Red Light. I just think that like so many of his songs hit in a way that I would dream to have mine hit, you know. Love them.
Well, I think both of them are, you could say, like no one really sounds like them, and they're consistent on their sound.
Yes.
Like, you know, I know a Red Light song
As soon
within
as it
3
hits.
seconds.
Yeah, totally.
And same with Distinct, obviously, but yeah, I think that's a common thread with like inspirational type of artists like them.
Yeah, and for me at this point, my big goal for myself is like consistent releases that sound like me, because I think like the problem when you do love so much different stuff and you think you can go anywhere in your DJ sets is that you make songs to fit in all these weird pockets and no one can really play them but you. I kind of worked that out. Like, this song's sick and I'm probably one of the 3 DJs in America who would want to play it because it's so weird. So
Well, I have to give you props on 303.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's one of my favorite songs to play.
That's a big record.
It's in every set.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. that
Except
makes me
in
happy.
Vegas on Saturday because someone else played it first.
God damn it. That's really cool to hear
But
that.
you've achieved. I feel like that track can go in a lot of different sets, and it's for me, it's like a great transitional
Piece
track.
between sounds.
Yeah.
And it's like an acid record that sounds like not just a noodly acid record.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds like you can play this too, like on a big stage, you know, and get people like going for it.
And it's such a precarious balance to find the right energy, and you push it. You just like, if the kick's wrong, it feels wrong. If the structure's a bit off, it's not quite right. And I'm still working it out. We all are, but like, I feel like I'm getting closer to working out my little formula. And I think that comes from me because I used to play every kind of DJ set every single week. When first 3 years that I lived here, I was doing any kind of set to pay the bills. So I'd be supporting so when I moved here, it was at the peak of EDM. of ETM explosion. And I'd just done 3 Ministry of Sound tours in Australia. So like I was used to playing big room clubs with all these big room DJs because that's what I'd been my bread and butter in Australia before I left. So I had this skill set of being able to do that, which was really handy because that's how I paid my rent for the first year that I lived here. But then I released my first EP, which was there was a song that I made with Flume and a song that I made with Touch Sensitive. And the one with Touch Sensitive, Real Talk.
As a jam.
It was a cute one, and it weirdly did really well, and it was like #1 on the Beatport Indie House chart or whatever for like 4 months at the time, which was like crazy. That was the first song that I'd really put out, and I was like, holy shit, this is really cool. But my booking agent, no one knew what to do with it or where to put me, but I started getting bookings with the house guys, like Early Disclosure shows, Crack and Smack, like those kind of guys. Duke Jamont, it was that sort of time when they were having a really good moment. So I was doing those shows. I was doing the big room shows on other days. Like there's a lot of stuff in South America because my booking agents did a lot of stuff in South America, big EDM festivals. And then I was also doing like bottle service clubs and like, so DJ wise, I was walking into any room petrified and not sure what I was going to have to do every night. That was the first sort of few years that I lived here. So once I started being able to say, you know what, I'm just going to do what's right, what I actually want to do, and what it took a few years to have the liberty and the privilege to say no and be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that gig because I can't play my music, and I can't. Like I remember playing EDC for the first time in Chicago in maybe 2013, and I prepared this sick set of songs that I'd been working on, and it was like housey, but it was probably really close to what a hyperhouse set is now. Like it went all over the place, but it was like really rooted in house and club music. And I walked into the situation and it was just like heavy EDM, and I knew that if I did that, I would never get booked again. Like I'd just clear the space. And I just remember standing side of the stage and I was like, what do I do? And I had a playlist from the weekend before that I knew I could fall back on if I had to do that. But I'd prepared this like what I thought was a really beautiful shot, like a really sick mix. And I played the set from the week before and didn't play the set that I'd planned to play because I felt like I was reading the room, and I think it was probably the right thing to do. But that was a really pivotal moment where I was like, I can't do this. Like I have to just
be authentic to yourself.
Be authentic to what I'm doing.
I think that's a really important epiphany to have, because I had the same thing. Like I would, in like 2013, leading into 14, like before Nightbase, like I was getting booked for like festivals and, shows and stuff where like say I get booked for a festival, there's like the EDM stage, the like trance stage, the house stage, drum and bass, dubstep. Where do I fit in there with like the bass house? It's like, it's too heavy for the, is that working? No. I unplugged it. Sorry. It was a little Are you sure?
Sorry.
No, that's all good.
You keep going.
But it was like, it was too heavy for the house stage, not heavy enough for like the EDM stage, and not big enough for the EDM stage, but just, it didn't really fit anywhere. So it was like, but wherever I played, I had the epiphany or like the moment that you did.
Yeah.
And
I think it's the courage as well.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna play me, and like what I want. I need to promote what I need to promote.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I'm not gonna be happy following what this stage is doing. And I did exactly what you said many times. You know what I mean? And then eventually, like, you get it. Like, I need to just do this or else I'm not going to be happy.
Well, you get the fans from it. So you get people being like, I loved your set that night. And you're like, well, you'll probably never hear me do that again. Sorry, because that's not what I want to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, being happy is so important with the music that you're getting behind, It's,
Thank you.
Yeah. Just that sentiment, just being really true to yourself, being authentic, just doing what you want to do, like, and not really thinking about money or things like that. That's because that will come anyway when you blow up for doing what you really want to do. You know, when you send that message out.
But
Totally.
I would say like back to 303, like, I don't know. I think it's all right when I get like demos and stuff, or when people ask me, what do you look for like a night bass release? I look for, the main thing for me is like originality, because I like to be excited. Like, I don't want to get a recreation of like
Yes.
a song that was popular on night bass by someone else. Like, so to me, 303 like captured that originality that I look for. It's unfortunately not on my label, but yeah, it's like it works in a lot of moments in a lot of different styles, but nothing really sounds like it.
Oh man, that's honestly
I don't
like.
mean to be kissing your ass, but
No,
I really
but
believe
it's-
this. I really love that song.
Thank you very much. And it's so funny because I had 303 in my crate at Night Bass 5-year anniversary and I was too scared to play it.
What? Why?
Because we were going back to back and like I just hadn't played it enough to know how it would go, and I wasn't sure. Like I just didn't, it wasn't about me. I was really happy playing back to back with Red Light, and I just wanted to make his songs like build on what he was throwing at me and not take too many left turns. And also that night we had mad tech issues. I think I remember I was late because my USBs weren't loading and I had to go running around downtown to buy new USBs.
Oh my God.
I was
did I
so
not know that?
frazzled. And then for some reason the USBs wouldn't load and my computer was playing up and I had to go buy a dongle because I couldn't find my dongle. It was one of those nights. So I was a bit frazzled already. And when I'm feeling that way, I just go back, I go to safe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just in a bit of like, I just want to play well and like just be safe on this one. But it's funny. I didn't even like, even though I feel like I know your sound well and I feel like we've known each other for so long and like it surprises me. I still don't think that I can see my music objectively, even as someone who spends their life looking at music objectively. It's my job. I can't see my own music objectively and I can't be always that confident about who's going to like it. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think that song
To
is a
us
solid
anyway.
banger.
Everyone at home's asleep.
I'm very like I have like tunnel vision because I live in a very small range of a world musically. Like I'm the opposite of you. Like you listen to everything. You're on the radio. You got to know everything. I don't want to be like this, but I only listen to like stuff that comes my way,
Right.
that fits what I do, and it kind of upsets me a little bit that I don't have time to just like explore new music because I'm trying to build.
You
A
can't
sound.
do everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, like I feel the same way. I don't feel like I'm ever doing enough too. So it's like, it's one of those things where I don't think anyone feels like they're fully able to give all their energy to everything. And if you were giving it, then you would probably wish that you had more time to make Night Bass more focused. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what you've built here is so important. Like it's so good to have something that makes sense and has a vision and, is pointing in a direction.
Have you seen a good reaction from 303? Sorry, I keep talking about 303. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's been really,
I'm just
really
curious.
cool. It's been amazing.
Yeah,
And
cool.
it's inspired me now because like my sort of relationship with making music is because I've always had to survive from, I don't know, I've always juggled a lot and making music is something that it's come in and out of my life in bigger chunks at different times. And sometimes I feel really connected to it and really at one with it. And sometimes it feels like I can never do it again. I think we talked about that when we had
Yeah,
had breakfast
I think,
where it's like,
me and Anna, we our kind of ups and downs, they line up a lot.
yeah.
And we do these little
Hangs.
meetups where we just open up about all of our insecurities together. It's like our little therapy session.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know. I just want
Yeah.
to mention that. It's, yeah,
We
like what you're
talked
talking
about-
about. Yeah, it's like you don't know what you should be doing. And yeah, we talk about these kind of things because I think everyone goes through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the biggest artist that's like killing it.
Yeah, because you can't
They're
make the same
struggling
song
what to do
twice.
next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't make the same song. Well, I don't want to make the same song twice. So it's like, and like to me, making music some days, and I said this in the press release for 303. It's like some days you sit down and it seems impossible actually to do. And I go around in circles and I pull my hair out over a stupid bass line and I can never get it right, or like nothing comes out of me. And then other days you sit down and you have a bit of a fiddle, and after about 2 hours you're like, this is kind of great. And you feel like, could it be that? Like, is that just that? Is that what this is? And that's how 303 came together. It felt like it was really fast. The idea and the concept fell together really quickly, and it within a couple of hours, I felt like I had 80% of what you hear on the track now. And so that's really rare, and it's great that it happened. And I feel really excited that my instincts work. Do you know what I mean? That like when it works, it does work.
Yeah.
And I trust myself when it all falls into place. But can it happen again? Like, will it happen next week?
I would
Who
like
knows?
to hear a 303, another track in the same vein as 303. We're not making the same track, but something with the same kind of palette.
Energy,
Yeah. Maybe not energy, but maybe energy. Yeah, but I just like the fact that you just like made an acid track.
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
It's like it's kind of ghetto tech influence too. It's kind of like
It's not like a cliche acid.
It's not
track.
a cliche acid track. Yeah.
Its own thing. Do you find that your better tracks or your more well-received tracks came together quickly, like 303 or?
Yeah, the ones that I really
feel the same way.
Yeah, it's like the whatever spirit it is that's behind the song, which I think honestly I feel like when I listen to a song, that's what overwhelmingly hits me, is like the energy that went into it and the effortlessness of it. And when I strangle a song and when I try really hard to get the sounds right, sometimes I think it sounds suffocated and try hard. And I can say that about about many of the songs that I feel I look back on them and I'm like, oh, I should have just sort of, I don't know. It was fine. It got me from A to B. It got me through that time, and maybe it was useful for a few months and whatever. But looking back, I don't feel like it was as spirited as, it wasn't as pure as something that happened really quickly and came together really quickly and that I still play today,
Mm-hmm. Outside of the music stuff, like as far as your career goes and radio, are you still doing the live stream thing?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
You were so good on it.
I don't know about that, but you guys, the way you put it together, you're basically doing a live TV show. It's fucking incredible.
It's really fun, and I don't think anybody watches it. It's literally just for us because we think it's funny.
Really good. It's like,
for people that don't know about it, just kind of fill people in.
So
like what it is.
Hyperhouse, I was wondering what to do with Hyperhouse after we stopped doing it on Beats One, and how to maintain the spirit of it. But also I'm limited with time because I still do a weekly radio show. So I can't do a mix all the time. I can't. So basically it came up with the idea of, and also I wanted to work in a really visual way and like do something that other people weren't doing as much. Like doing another mix, putting it somewhere, would that move the needle for me? Probably not. I'd done that for the last 3 years every single week. So doing just mixes didn't seem that exciting. So somehow the idea of a live stream came up, of maybe doing a live stream gig. And then it was like, maybe we'll do, but we want to do silly things. So we want to do this. So then the idea of the live stream came together. And basically you can look at it on my YouTube channel. It's like an hour and a half, and I mix for the first half hour, and then usually have a guest mix, someone to come in and do a guest mix, and then we chat and we do like skits and we do challenges and we do a beat off, which is where like I'll put together a pretty shit sample pack of stuff and make my friends make beats in like 10 minutes.
That one, the one that I was on was really good with Wookie and Ducky
doing the beat off, which was just a build up.
It was just,
so they just had to
the craziest build up.
The most epic build up of all time.
Both of them.
They were made for that competition.
Oh, yes.
They were so good at it.
That was really good.
Yeah, so we just have fun, and like my assistant Christine, she's great at like I couldn't do it without her, because we come up with the ideas and we brainstorm it, and then she really helps it come together and pulls all the little pieces and emails everyone, and does all the stuff that is time consuming and follows up on it. Because like I said, when you go away for a couple of weeks, I just don't even remember where I was at when I come home. Like now I've worked out I have to write really clear lists about month blocks, which I think is what I was talking about today on my Instagram. Yes. I was talking about how I just keep like the last couple of years, things are so busy. I feel like I go into the year with good intentions, and then summer starts and we get going, and then it like I get spat out the other end in like December, and I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm like,
insane.
What did I even do? Like I managed, I got through it all. I'm sure I did a good job of it, but like what am I working on now? I just feel discombobulated. Like I don't even no idea, no direction, because every week is just such a struggle to get through. So this year I really went on this. I basically had no choice but to work out how to manage it because I just wasn't coping. And I came up with this idea of cutting the year into quarters and really writing out in each department of my life what I needed to do in that quarter to move from A to B.
So you like physically write it down.
Yeah.
So it's in front of you.
So it's in front of me. So it's like, okay, this month my entire focus is finishing my EP, and I'm going to do radio each week. But besides that, I'm not doing any gigs, or if I am, it's only this kind of gig, because that's the only gig that I can maintain as well as having the mental energy to do this. Mm-hmm. So I've been really cutting back on things and focusing really hard so that I actually get music done, because that was the problem with me. I wasn't consistent. I'd get a few months in, I'd get really inspired, I'd get a few cool things done, and then I'd go off on tour, and then a year would go by and I would be like, wait, how do I even use Synplant? I don't remember how to use Synplant. For a year, I loved Synplant. I used it every day, and then I just forgot how to use it, or like lost
Stop
the
watering that
login.
plant.
Yeah, it's like
shout out to Synplant.
Synplant. That's gardening for DJs.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I set out to do like my second album, and I came up with the idea to do it like maybe in like December or January. But right before that, I had said to the agency, like, I want to do tons of shows like this spring because I had an EP coming out. Let's tour. I want to go crazy.
Yeah.
Now I'm going crazy, and I'm like, I don't have time to work on the album, and it's killing me. Yeah. So one thing that you told me last week at Beats One, was, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, was your little like, all right, your quarterly thing. I don't know if it's quarterly. Quarterly trip by yourself to go like focus. Yes. Clear your head. I'm taking that idea from you. Yes. Thank you. But I'm switching it to, I'm just gonna go away for like 3 days in the middle of the week, get a place, bring my speakers, and just work on music. Yeah. And not get online. Yeah,
don't do
none
anything.
Of that, because running a label.
Oh, you got
running
events,
events,
man.
All of that shit. You know, it's the same with you and the radio show, you know? It's like, it's just like not a day job, it's a passion, but it's like, it takes away, you want to do it well, so that takes away from your time to be creative. And I'm not like a type of person that's quickly creative. I need to dive in for like at least a day to get my like brain into creative mode. To
unwind it enough that it's wandering. Like you got to be able to wander and fiddle and not have a deadline.
I like that wander.
When I feel like there's a deadline, it's like, okay, I've got today to make this record. Sometimes that can be good, but most of the time it's overwhelming and I end up getting frustrated and end up not getting very far at all. So it's better to be like, this is fun. Dinky dinky ding dong dong dong. Oh.
Yeah. What's a good way that you sorry, totally cut you off. What's a good way that you relieve stress when it's all like too much? Like you say, you breaking the quarterly down, but like what's what do you want to do when you're not crazy busy?
I'm not crazy busy, the first thing I do is like exercise as much as possible, and go to Korean spa. And take CBD oil, which is the shit. I'm such a basic bitch.
Really? What do you take?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever I've got, whatever that someone gave. I don't know. Just like a tiny little bit.
Cures everything.
I really like it. It's really just helpful, just to make your shoulders feel less tight.
How do you take? What do you do with it? Sorry.
I just take a little, just like a tiny little, couple little drops of whatever it is. The little drops, the tinctures.
Okay.
with in oil, CBD oil.
Yo, hook me up.
Yeah, it's a real. I just got this one. A friend gave it to me, and I had it in my house for 6 months before I took it. And then I was like, oh, what is it? And I actually had the headspace to be not sure if I was gonna like green out for that, because you just don't know. Like I don't know. I didn't do anything, so I was like, let's just wait till I've got time to like not have a good night's sleep or something. And so I eventually took it, and I was like, oh, it's really relaxing. Just feel like you have a glass of wine or something.
Got it.
Just makes your shoulders feel less tight. And so, but exercising, going to Korean's bar, seeing friends, like actually socializing. Because I think the biggest time suck of our lives is travel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest spirit sucker in our lives, which is, it's funny. And I feel like for people listening, that's really hard to take. I mean, like you're like, oh, cool, oh, traveling so hard.
Stop complaining.
DJscomplaining.com. But the problem is like you like for 12 hours a day to like 4 days a week, you're in a state where you can't actually do anything but sit on your phone and just flick through stuff, or like, because you've got 20 minutes in the car and then you've got 20 minutes to wait, then you've got to go through security, then you're 20 minutes here, then you've got 2 hours on the tarmac because it's delayed, and then it's dead time. And let alone being tired or hungry, whatever the other emotional factors, but the spirit-wise, you just go numb, because you guys know this. It's like you get home, and even though you've spent the day doing nothing,
You feel exhausted.
your body and your spirit and your energy, and you've been eating crap, and you're just like,
You're around like complaining people. And,
and you're like
crowded.
next to a guy who burped the whole way from Philly to wherever. It's
And
like
the bare foot coming up between the seat.
Exactly. Just poking a little toe next to your elbow, or like a coffer,
It's a glorious life.
It's that does take a lot out of you, and I just love being outdoors and being in nature. So that's the first thing I do. I just go someplace where I can just go for a walk.
Watch the wasps.
Yeah. Get kicking wasp nest.
Yep.
Get some wasps in my hair. You know what I'm saying, boys?
Get out there and feel alive.
Feels like Australia again.
Yeah, exactly. Got to go shear sheep.
That's a new thing you need to learn how to treat. The wasp attack.
A wasp attack,
Right.
I know. They didn't train me for that in Australia because we don't have them. Well, not those particular European wasps, which I now know how to handle.
Just run like a motherfucker.
You just run and you take your T-shirt off and you slap your shoulders like this.
So what's next?
Oh, great question. What is next?
That's a tough question.
Do you know that's what I'm going to find out, because I'm going away for my 2 days.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
That's what's next.
That's what's next.
What's next is you finding out what's next.
Exactly.
I like that.
No, I did an EP. I finished one. Well, actually, if I finish this last track with Red Light, then that wasn't supposed to be on it, but we're trying to get that on it.
Is that an exclusive? To the pod?
I've said it on Instagram.
Can you hum it?
Can you hum it? Yeah, give us a...
It's actually got a really crazy acidy line too.
Oh, shit.
At this point, but anything can change. The way that we're going, we like take left turns every day. So
After this soul searching, you never know.
exactly. It might be all didgeridoos and hand claps by the end of my walk.
Bondi hipster.
Exactly. So that's done. That's coming out on Mad Decent. In terms of music, that's what's happening for the foreseeable. I'm also just finishing off. I've got like 5 songs that are probably 70 to 80% done. That I can probably say in May I'll be trying to finish them off.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'll probably take a little left turn with one of the releases that I'm kind of excited about. Because for me, I also really love doing kind of smart pop songs. I do like writing them. I really like writing proper lyrics. But I feel like I found this weird zone, like on this song that I wrote in January. I feel like I found a new zone which might actually work in my set. So I'm looking forward to finishing that song, because I feel like that could be a little key to where I might head.
Right.
You know,
to unlock some
next
other
layer
stuff,
of the
yeah,
game. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I'm just trying to just make life happen and enjoy it and stay happy and stay inspired by it and do cool shit. That's basically all I'm trying to do around here.
It's a good goal.
That's valid. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That's legit.
I co-sign that.
I like that.
And make $1 million.
Oh yeah, and make money.
Make heaps of money. No, just joking. Yeah.
Start a CBD company. And feel relaxed.
Yeah.
And we'll collab again.
Oh, yes, we've got to collab again.
We have to.
And we should collab again too.
Yes, we should. Definitely.
We should all collab
Yes.
again.
Are you going to be on vocals this time?
You can't see that. We just did like a, what do you call those? Hands in.
I don't know. Like hands in.
It's like a hands in. Yeah.
I think I just named it a hands in.
It's a hands in.
Yo.
Or like if you watch Married with Children, the Whoa Bundy, where they all do that and they go, Whoa Bundy. Yeah. We learned a lot.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks for stopping
guys,
by.
you're the
Night-based
best.
energy.
This was really fun.
That was good fun.
Thanks for bringing that energy.
NRG.
NRG.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And this is really cool.
It is.
Nice just to get a chance to chat and hang out.
It's our little underground
Den.
radio.
Rave
I'm
den.
doing air quotes radio show.